Recruiter here, the headless headhunter, to review your resumes to get you ahead of your job search. The resume we have up first is a machine learning engineer intern. This person has been trying hard to get an internship, but they haven't gotten any success, and they specifically said in AI/machine learning. I did a very quick meet or read of this, and the spoiler alert is this resume is garbage. I'm not saying that to be mean, I'm saying there's like nothing here. To a recruiter's eye, there is like practically nothing in this resume. I know it looks filled, but it's not. So formatting wise, this could use some slight tweaks, but it's not a formatting issue why you're not getting stuff. Like, this is still legible. I would prefer it to look like this, which is my resume template, but this is still readable. The problem is what we're looking for in a machine learning intern is, well, machine learning, Python, C, C++, SQL, PyTorch, TensorFlow, Cloud, probably some of the other stuff like Skibbity-learn and whatever. LLM, AI, generative AI, ChatGPT takes direction and criticism, and you can work well with others in your degree. The problem is, besides Python, I did not find a single one of these. So, they start off the sentence, again, with designed and implemented a physics-guided neural network, PGNN, in Python. I don't know what a physics-guided neural network, PGNN, is. I don't know how that's related to machine learning. I do know I need to see Python. Enhanced model accuracy by 25% and reducing validation errors by 18% through physics-based constraints for thermal solar systems or whatever. This entire resume is filled with percentages. There's a percentage here, 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 and none of those actually show what I'm looking for. I feel like I've reviewed this resume before. I don't even know if I missed it or not, but there's nothing here, right? Like, this is why you're not getting any luck with it, is because there's literally nothing here. This entire resume is almost wasted space. Now, I know your next thought is, well, hold on, Headless. What about Kotlin and Spring and SQL and Python over here? It doesn't count. You cannot list them here. Skills sections don't count. Everybody fights on that, but I'm telling you, to a hiring manager, more so than a recruiter, because my advice is both for the recruiter and the hiring manager, skills sections don't count. If it's in a skills section, it's superfluous at best. At worst, it's actually harmful. And because you did not state AWS here, I am going to assume you did not have it. Here, maybe you just looked at it once, right? But it's not here. They have to be here. It have to be here, right? It doesn't matter if they're off in a corner. You cannot just list it. It's not a keyword. Resume keywords don't technically exist. Everybody thinks they do. I have called them keywords before because I know that's what y'all call them, but that's not what recruiters call them. That's not what hiring managers call them. We don't look for keywords. We look for qualifications. And if you don't show you use the qualifications, then it doesn't matter how good or braggy or how many numbers you have. We're not going to move you forward. Even if I understood this, it's still not what I'm looking for. This is what recruiters are actually looking for. It's the qualifications. And I know some job descriptions are terrible, right? Like, not all job descriptions are good, but you can get an aggregate list of the qualifications. And this is what we care about, but you can't list them off to the side, because baby recruiters will send them to hiring managers. And you know what will happen? The manager said, well, they didn't use it. And you'll be like, but they have it in this day. I don't care. And then you have to go back and you just wasted everybody's time. So skill sections don't matter. So yeah, do you have everything in the skills section? Sure. But that doesn't matter because you don't show me how you used it and the reason and result of you using it. You tell me that you process data for 100,000 row thermal data sets across multiple files, streamlining analysis workflows and reducing manual processing time by 65%, but that's not in the job description. They're not asking you to automate processing pipelines by 65%. Otherwise, that would in fact be a qualification. They're asking for Python or C or C++ and SQL and PyTorch and TensorFlow and Cloud and LLM and AI, generative AI and ChatGPT. And because specifically this is an internship, they are looking for you being able to take directions and criticism well. But most importantly is I don't see any machine learning. Where is the machine learning? You say you're a machine learning research assistant. I don't know how this is related to machine learning. I have a bachelor's in psychology. This is not what I would know. I'm going to make an assumption that physics-guided neural networks, because it's being a neural network, is related to machine learning, but the recruiter may not know that. The hiring manager may not know that. Nobody may know that but you, and that's why you're getting rejected. You need to lower your standards in your resume. We don't want whatever 400 swipes and a collaborative requests in the first month of testing. That's meaningless. This is meaningless. I'm sure it's impressive, but it doesn't matter if it's impressive. It matters what I'm looking for. So if this doesn't matter. Like, that's what I'm trying to tell you. Is it impressive? Yes. Does it matter to you? Good. I think I want stuff to matter to you, but it doesn't matter to the people reviewing your resume or even potentially talking about it to get you a new job or internship. So that's all I can do for this one. If you all want more help, you can join me on my Twitch chat. That's where I review these live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. PST at twitch.tv/headless headhunter, and please like, comment, and subscribe. It does help me out. The algorithm is fickle, and I do not understand it, especially so. Although y'all might actually be able to understand it, because y'all are very smart people. But let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a project manager in finance, except it's not. It also might be looking for an internship or a co-op, which it's kind of like two different things. So their ratio is 150. So that's 150 applications to get a single interview, and I think it's actually plus. So yeah, it's worse than 150. So this person is getting basically no interviews. So what we're looking for a project manager, not counting the finance part, is the details about how and why you did X, how you made things happen, PMP, CSM, customer stakeholders, agile industry, team members, matrix, cross-functional, number of projects, budgets, multitask, how you use the resources, and how you solved problems. Now, if we're looking for an internship, we're not going to need about 75% of those. We're probably going to need about 50% of those, plus how you can work well with others. But this person, I'm sure we're not going to find any of those. So I'm going to try to scan the resume real quick to see if I can find those, and maybe other recruiters are missing something, but I doubt it. So let's start the clock and see if I can find these. Okay, this one's actually solid, but this bolding makes it so hard. I cannot read this. Oh my gosh, the bolding. Oh my gosh. Okay, and there's too many percentages too. Stop. Everybody puts percentages. Yeah, okay, there's like nothing there. I couldn't find almost anything. Well, this I think is actually solid. They started off with a good first sentence, but so there's a lot wrong with this. First off, your formatting is awful. You need to make it look like this. This is the best resume format you will ever have. I swear to you, unless you're a high-level director, because that's a little bit different, or you're contracting work, or you have a very spotty work history. There's two resume types. There's if you meet one of those for 3 criteria, and then everybody else in this one, and this is everybody else. So first off, there's so much bolding. Like, if you just removed this and unbolded everything here, you would immediately stand a better chance. So, led weekly updates during business impact analysis meeting with key clients. I actually like that. This shows that you would meet with stakeholders. So this would count as stakeholder management, even though you did not specifically state stakeholders. This is really good. And then you just lose focus completely. Like, designed a predictive supply chain architecture model using ARIMA, value at risk, and regression analysts to forecast supplier delays and reduce lead time. What is that? So, I don't know what that is. I don't know how that's related to this. Is that related to this? I don't know. You didn't show me. And if you're wondering, like, well, hold on, shouldn't the recruiter know this? Truthfully, the recruiter is probably reviewing those software engineer roles and this role and at 5 other different industries at the same time. As an example, I once did at the same time oligonucleotide scientists, 2 or 3 of them at the same time, while I did 3 different Python engineer roles, software engineer, data science manager, data science person, a data analytics, a lab tech, like 1 marketing role, and like 3 account executives, and plus a bunch more that I can't remember off the top of my head. Those were all at the same time. This is why you need to you need to do the basics, is because your recruiter is probably working in multiple industries and roles at the same time. It's very rare for a recruiter, unless it's at like a very, very, very big company, to work in one always specific industry. And even if they're doing tech, they're probably doing software engineers, they're doing data scientists, they're doing managers for that, they're doing ML engineers, they're still in different stacks. So this is incomprehensible jargon. I don't know how many team members you had. I don't know what this is. It's also, the bolding makes it very hard. I don't see any. Well, you're doing an internship, so you probably don't have a PMP, a CSM, and that's okay. Was this cross-functional? I don't know. How did you use your resources? I don't know. This is so hard to read, and this is their problem. So that's why you're not getting anything, is A, it's highly competitive, but B, this is a terrible resume. And I can't find anything I need except for customers and stakeholders, which you did very well. Like I said, you should be proud of yourself for this line. So that's all I can really do on this one. I mean, there's like nothing here, and this is so hard to read that it hurts my head. And every single person puts all these percentages and numbers in, but we're not looking for those. We're not looking to see if you shifted market trends by improving trading efficiency by 8%. We're looking for, did you use Microsoft Excel to create a report for stakeholders which allowed you to influence them at a weekly meeting? That's what we're looking for. So let's go to, this is a resume of a software engineer intern. And guess what? They completely doxed themselves, so I can't show anything beyond this page. Also, they gave me no notes besides 100 to 1. So I'm assuming that's accurate, but I always am sus if people don't put any notes, because usually there's always a little bit of a story you could tell me to give me more ideas. So let's start the clock to see if I can find this stuff. Again, it's really simple. We're just looking for a degree, basic knowledge of the tech stack, like language, library, SQL, cloud, ability to work well with others, and takes direction and criticism, and that's it. So this doesn't count. Okay, bachelor's, engineering, PhD, what? Gained insights. I'm not looking for gained insights. SQL is fine though. AWS is good. Java is okay. Microservices, AI. Yeah, this would be a no, but it's not terrible. This would be definitely a no. So part of the problem is you don't show how you can work well with others and take criticism and direction. The other part of the problem is your resume is a nightmarish beast of bolding. So first off, delete this. You don't need it. Second off, nothing here should be bolded. Third, nothing here should be bolded. If you literally just unbold all this stuff, your resume will get more hits. You'll probably go from a 1 in 100 to a 1 in like 80 to 1 in 75 immediately by unbolding everything. Again, unbold this. So your actual bullet points are okay. They could use some work though. So gained insights. Never say, I learned X from my resume. They never want to see that you learned something. They want to see that you've done the thing. They never want to know that you learned it. They want to know that you've done it. So don't say gained insight from meta recruiters and engineers on building scalable Prism PostSQL pipelines. So first off, what did you get from the recruiters? What are we going to be able to tell you about that? Because we don't know that. What would we be able to help you on a PostgreSQL pipeline? I want to know the answer to that, because that, as a recruiter, that sounds sus. I wouldn't take coding advice from other recruiters. I wouldn't take coding advice from myself. Control schemes. Again, this is too technical. This is an actually good bullet point, though. Built a Java Spring Boot microservice with NextAuth and AWS in a microservice architecture, applying cloud AWS best practices. I don't really care about to improve readability. You should probably delete that, but the rest of this is good. And I want you to write the rest of your resume like this. I don't know if I really need amplify, but the rest of this is good. I want you to write the rest of it. This sentence alone probably is getting you interviews. If you want to know what we're actually looking for, it's what I've highlighted about this sentence. This one's actually solid too. The problem is your formatting is so awful that I don't know if they're going to actually be able to read it. So if you fix your formatting, you're going to immediately get way more success. So fix your formatting and then change your bullet points just a little bit to be closer to this part and this part. And then I think you're going to get a lot of internships. But right now you're basically shouting at me of what your skills are. And these are not all the skills that I'm really looking for. So, plus, I would like how you worked well together with others, right? Like, you're an intern. Interns need to show that they can work well with others and takes direction and criticism. Managers really hate interns that can't do that because they just blow up on them. So please put that in there. But this is a solid bullet point. Write the rest of your resume like this, and fix your formatting, my goodness, and you will get a lot more interviews. So let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a front-end developer. They said almost 8 months on the job hunt, struggling to find something. I've had interviews based on different resumes, but nothing that is getting multiple hits. So we don't know their ratio, but what we're going to be looking for in a front-end developer is JavaScript, React, Angular, JS, HTML, CSS, and PHP, SQL, Scrum, Agile, RESTful APIs, SEO, Git, Docker, Jira, Vue, Next, and bonuses are extra languages, cloud, UI, UX, SAS, TypeScript, WordPress, and I should have added Agile to that as well. So we're adding Agile. So let's see what this is. So the first thing is you say you're applying for front-end roles, but you immediately have a full stack? That's a little confusing, but whatever. I don't know if you need this. I mean, I get why you put it here. Plus, the cybersecurity is not really related. So normally I am a proponent of putting the education up at the top, but it looks like you don't have the education that they would be looking for a front-end role. So this is one of the exceptions where you can put your education at the bottom. So normally the education inserts go at the top, but yours is not directly relevant to the role and could lead you to be considered overqualified. So then it should be at the bottom. Plus, you start out with this, which is really good. So, creative websites and online tools, allowing customers to shop easily on tablets. Okay, so as a software engineer, you absolutely need to have your stack in the very first bullet point. This should be 2, by the way. So this should not be in there. You can have 2 separate bullet points, but I want to see created websites and online created websites using JavaScript, React, HTML, CSS, and whatever. And then you can do it. But your very first words I should read after your education, or in this case before, should be your stack. You need to immediately just lead with that, which like nobody does. Developed a modular component library with HTML, JavaScript, good, jQuery, to reduce client design meeting times, okay, JavaScript, React, CSS. RESTful API, Agile, Scrum, HTML. So this is not bad, but it's a little long. So what you don't really need to do is repeat the same qualifications in the same job. What you want to do is spread is if you say in the very first line using JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, you don't need to say it in the rest of that particular job. It can be okay depending on the industry, but in this case, you could maybe repeat it once more, but you repeat it about 3 to 4 times. Now, you do want to use it at the next job because that shows years of experience, but I need this to start out with your tech stack. Then this should go to the bottom. And then I'm going to need a little bit more. So I did have HTML, I did have CSS, I did have JavaScript. I actually missed React. Let's see, so I did see React, but I don't know. Oh, I already have Scrum and Agile up there. There it is, Agile. Okay. Okay, so yeah, your problem is this is too wordy. There's too much here. You just have too many bullet points. Less is more in this case. Even when I was reviewing this, I actually missed a couple of the stuff. I didn't see React because you've got like CSS 18 times. So you need to shrink this down and simplify it more. You have the right qualifications, but they're hard to find. Your bullet points should not be longer than 8, but in this case, for what you've done here, and you've only been there for like 3 years, you could probably just have 5 bullet points. I would just put 5 bullet points. And you still need to contain this stuff, but that way it's going to be easier to read. And again, if you mention HTML and CSS here, you don't need to put it again. So it should start with created websites and online tools in using React, HTML, so JavaScript, HTML, CSS, and whatever else I just said. And then the next line can be about SEO, Git, Jira, and then the line after that can be about SQL, Scrum, Agile, and RESTful APIs. Also, I don't see any SQL. And if I do, I missed it. So you absolutely need to shrink this. There's just too many. So it's not terrible, like you have the qualifications, but you need to shrink them. So once you do that, you should have a lot more luck. Also, make sure to apply early. The faster you apply, the better your chances. That's just how ATSs work. So it's probable that even with a good resume, you're not going to get seen if you don't apply early. So let's go to the next resume. This is a resume of a cloud infrastructure engineer, or there's like 3 other different names for it. They're all the same. So what we're going to be looking for is an awful lot. This is not an exhaustive list, but it's mostly what we're going to be looking for. So cloud, obviously. The problem is if it's going to be AWS, GCP, or Azure, it's going to change a little bit of what we're looking for. So each of those is going to have a little bit of a different like sub stuff that we're looking for, and I just cannot write that all out. But deploying and troubleshooting is massive. We absolutely need that. Coding language, just a singular one, along with PowerShell and Bash. DevOps was everywhere. CI/CD was everywhere. IoT, Linux, DNS, CDNs, load balancers, VPCs, subnets, security groups. Active Directory, hybrid identity. I actually only saw this one at 1, so I don't think hybrid identity, but Microsoft 365 is, and cross-functional and how you solved people problems. What I mean by that is you are going to be the expert, and there's going to be confusion. You have to handle them. They want to know that you can do that. So this is not necessarily like working well with people. This is sort of like how you solved a problem, even if the problem was between the keyboard and the chair. So let's begin. Let's start the clock. Oh gosh, I messed up all my formatting. And nope, that doesn't count. Now let's start the clock. Okay. I don't know how needed all of these are. I don't think I saw them. Chief Technology Officer. Okay, that's a giant red flag, especially because it's only for 3 months. Okay. Yeah, that's not... Okay, what? Okay, yeah, that's not what I'm looking for. That's also a red flag. Like, why would you hire a cloud infrastructure engineer if they were a CTO? The title, normally the titles can be malleable, but this is like, that's a kind of an immediate no. Like, they're not looking for a CTO, they're looking for a cloud infrastructure engineer. Led a team of 9 in-house developers, cross-functional is good, but I don't know what rhythmic. Agile is okay, but it's not usually always capitalized. SSDLC, I don't know what that is. So even if this was a title that we're looking for, the cloud is the very last thing in the sentence. I want to say, like, led a team in a cloud environment, and then blah, and then I assume I'm going to need like EC2 and stuff for AWS. Balanced budget, again, this is not what I'm looking for. Like, you're a cloud engineer. You're not a manager, unless you're applying for a manager role. Did I miss this? I don't think you are. No. Yeah, like, this is not needed. Like, a small amount of leadership is fine, like leading a team or taking charge, but this is too much. This reads more like a manager. Utilize CloudFormation and Terraform to write infrastructure as code, IAC. See, that's the thing is, I didn't see any IAC. I saw IoT, and that was like in 1 or 2, but I never really saw IAC in the roles. VPC, I'm not seeing. Conducted regular security audits. Security is good. Datadogs, performance monitoring. I mean, this would already not be there. So, again, IAC, and here we go to that. So, my problem is I don't really find what I'm looking for. Like, it doesn't look like this is what I would want from a cloud engineer. From my understanding, this is a relatively good market, so you getting 1 in 75 is probably due to how competitive that market is, but your resume is not great. Like, I was barely able to find some of these. So, I didn't see CI/CD, I didn't see DevOps, I didn't see deploying or troubleshooting, although troubleshooting is more important than deploying, to the point where I'm just going to put troubleshooting. I didn't see Active Directory or Microsoft 365, although admittedly that might be specifically with Azure. I didn't see almost anything I needed. And it reads like you're a CTO, not a cloud infrastructure engineer. Which, that's fine. I actually don't think this is terrible for maybe a CTO, but like, this is completely irrelevant if I'm looking for a cloud engineer. So I'm really not sure what this resume is, but you're in chat right now, so I can work with you after this. But for everybody at home, we're going to the next resume. Is a resume of a Canadian business intelligence analyst. So the qualifications are going to be different from the US-based business intelligence analyst. I don't know why, but they are. So what we're looking for is your degree, SQL, AI. It was in a lot of jobs. Tableau, Power BI, data visualization. Actually, data visualization, man, I don't know if I saw that as much anymore, but MS Office and Excel. Every single job description had Excel. You need to show Excel with pivot tables and VLOOKUP. If you don't, well, you're not going to get moved forward, because if it's not in your resume, it does not exist. The ability to talk with customers, stakeholders, and explain complex topics to them. You are the expert. As a BI analyst, you are the person that we come to when we don't understand stuff. If every day in the very beginning of at the start of my day, I slap my face like this, it means we get 5 more customers. You're going to have to explain how that's correlated, because I'm not going to know. I'm just going to keep slapping my face every morning. Basically, we don't understand correlation does not necessarily imply causation. That we did go over in my psych degree. So that I actually do know personally, but people don't. And then industry-specific stuff, so, like education, healthcare, whatever. And a bonus points are going to be for Python, R, SAP, and specifically for Canada, French and English, because there's a large French and English population, and being bilingual is really going to help. This person's ratio is unknown, so we do not know how well they are doing, but let's check it out. So, starting the clock, and let's see if I can find it. Okay, this is, ETL, Power BI, Nothing. Python is okay. SQL is good. ETL, Python, SQL. Okay, there's no Excel. This is also really difficult to read. Okay, yeah, this would not work. I'm not even finished. I don't see any Excel. Almost every single one of them wanted Excel. I'm sure it's implied, but if it's not on your resume, it doesn't exist. That's the rule. So first off, this formatting is awful. You do not need bullet points under this. This should look like this, except there's going to be 3 bullet points only. 1 is your degree. 2 is your data analyst professional certificate. And 3 is your also data analytics certificate. Although I would say they should be above your degree in this case because they're not as directly related. So your Power BI should go first, then your Google Data Analytics should go second, and then third is your BA. And again, you do not need to put anything. So this should be 3 lines total. Also, stop with the fancy colors. The more fancy and flashy your resume is, the worse it is. So, on to the actual job. Create and maintain ETL pipelines using Python and SQL and Microsoft SQL servers. This is fine. I don't care about Microsoft SQL. I know that's weird. But, you know, I also... Is cloud important? I don't know if I care that much about cloud. But automated reporting... See, this is okay. I just need more. Right? Like... What was the result of doing this? Like, I get the reason, but I need a little bit more. Presented insights to context, simplifying complex data. Okay, cool, but like, you can't just say I simplified it. You have to give the results or the deeper reason. You're not telling me enough. These are very anemic bullet points. I need to know that, you know, presented insights on Word to stakeholders in a weekly meeting, explaining complex topics in a simplified manner for them. But, this one doesn't matter. I don't care about GitHub. Again, what is data quality improvement initiatives? You have to explain how that's related to one of these qualifications. But a bigger issue is I don't see Excel. I would probably have to reject this resume because there's no Excel. I am aware of how basic it is. Every single industry fights me on this, but if it's not in your resume, it doesn't exist. And you don't show me Excel. You don't show me how you talk with customers or stakeholders and explain. But a bigger issue is Excel. So if you just moved these to 3 lines total, started with created Excel, used Excel to create pivot tables and VLOOKUPs of documentation to support blah, 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 you would immediately get more chances. But right now it looks like it's very competitive in Canada. Again, I don't know the Canadian market as well as the US, but you're not going to move forward if you don't have Excel. And I know that's probably not what you want to hear because you're like, well, I've done all this impressive stuff, but like, you need the basics. The resumes are basic qualification documents, and that is a basic minimum qualification is Excel, and you do not list it. So stop thinking big with your resumes. I think everybody needs to think basic. But that's it for this review. I hope that was helpful to y'all. If you need more help, you can stop by my Twitch chat every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. PST at twitch.tv/headlessheadhunter. That is where I find these qualifications and where I help people out a little bit more. And, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how this helped. Today in the stream, we got somebody a job already from this stuff. So I really like people telling me because there's not a lot of feedback I get. But I love helping people, and I've been getting a lot of people jobs. So until then, I will see you all next time to get you ahead of your job search.